Hi Stampers, today we'll be making a card using Basic Grey, Tempting Turquoise, Poppy Parade and Whisper White cardstocks. We'll also be using the Enfranchis or script background stamp from Stampin' Up, which if you've watched previous videos or seen my cards on my blog, you'll know that I love this stamp. We'll also be using the sentiment from Delightful Dozen, and that is Get Well Soon. And I'll be using the lily-like design from Fifth Avenue Floral. To get started, we'll take our basic grey background and just give that a quick sponging around the edges. And there we go. I'm now going to sponge around the 10.5 by 7.5 piece of basic grey cardstock. And there we go. Now using a pair of scissors or your distress tool. My distress tool has gotten lost in my clutter, which is fine. I don't mind using scissors, and we're just going to distress around the edges. And then I'm just going to touch that up again. And there we go. We can now set this piece aside. We're now going to take our script background stamp and using our Tempting Turquoise ink, we're just going to, I'm dropping everything. We're just going to ink that up and stamp that image down. And there we go. I'm not sure. There we go. We're now going to put that aside. Ink around the edges of this piece in Tempting Turquoise. And you can see, I'm hoping that the depth that it's given it, I was kind of hoping by bringing it in. We're now going to, with our basic grey, we're just going to give it a very light inking around the edge, just a tiny bit, just to get it to stand out. And there we go. We're now going to just sit this piece, no, we're not going to put this piece aside, sorry. We're going to use our scissors, cover these up so they don't get dirty, and just go around the edges of this piece. And there we go. We're now going to set this piece aside, and you will take your 8.5 by 6.5 piece of cardstock, and using the lily stamp, you will ink it in Versamark, and you're going to clear emboss this image. And you're going to stamp off the edge. I've already done it to save time. You're going to stamp 2 in the bottom corners and another one up in the top corner, like so. And then you're going to, once you've embossed this and just let it cool for a few moments, you will take your scrap piece of Tempting Turquoise, which just has to be the size of the lily, and you're going to white emboss the lily onto the cardstock. And you're going to do 2 of these white lilies. I've already done another one, which you'll see in a moment. So what we're going to do is first we'll work on the 10.5 by 6.5, and we're going to take our Tempting Turquoise and ink around the edges. And then in Basic Grey, we're going to give a small ink around, just a very small one again. Then the same as all the others, we're going to use the scissors and we're just going to distress around the edges. And there we go. Hopefully you can see the tones on the edges. There we go. We're now going to take our white lily and we're just going to cut around that with our snips. Please and there we go. You'll notice that when I cut shapes out using my snips, I tend to keep my scissors in very still and just move the cardstock around to the way I want it cut. I just find that gives you a better cut and it's a lot faster. Okay, I have cut this about a mil or 2 from the edge of the white, and we're now going to ink that in Tempting Turquoise and then go around the edges in Basic Grey. And there we go. I just love that effect with the grey. And here's the one I've already done, which is dried. God, those lights are bright tonight. We're now going to set these aside and we'll bring in all the pieces to the card. And we're going to start layering it now. We're going to attach our large turquoise down to our card base, just using tape. And then we will adhere our embossed piece down to our smaller grey. Now when we attach that, we're going to attach it closer to the top than the bottom. We're going to leave about a centimetre, maybe a centimetre and a half roughly gap, about a centimetre and a half gap at the bottom, and we'll get to that in a minute. And there we go. Now before we attach these 2 pieces together, we're going to take a bit of linen thread and we're just going to tie that. Ooh, hang on, I've made a boo-boo, which, you know, is typical me. So we're just going to pull this piece up a little bit. We're going to adhere this grey piece to the top of this card. It's about a centimetre down from the top of the Tempting Turquoise. into there, and then we're just going to wrap our linen thread around, sorry about this, just around that twice. You know, I have an idea in my head and I'm just trying to get it as close to possible. And then tie that off and then adhere that down. And there we go. We will now take another piece of thread, then we'll fold it in half. I'm going to have to fix that now. And then we're just going to tie that into a bow. And there's my bow. And then we'll just snip the ends off those. And there's that. So I'm going to ink a basic grey scallop in basic grey ink. There we go. I'm now going to take a scrap piece of Whisper White and I'm just going to trim that down a little bit so it focuses. And we're just going to stamp our sentiment. And we'll stamp that in basic grey. Then we'll take our 1 3/8 inch circle, line that up and cut that out. Now in basic grey we're just going to ink around the edges of that one. Attach our sentiment to the scallop. And now we're ready to put on our flowers and our scallop. I'm going to put, if I can find one of my flowers, I'm going to put the sentiment on first, and that is never good. I think I'm just having a really bad luck tonight. Then I'm just going to attach that there. I'm now going to place a couple of dimensionals on the back of my lilies. And just place those up the side of the card. And there we go. And that is the card for today. There we go. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Bye.